Hey there, boils and ghouls. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollow Weekly. Nick and Trevor here with the big conclusion. If you've been listening to the last couple episodes, we've been watching Wrong Turn the Wrong Way, starting from the remake, then going 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
We decided for this last one, slap them together. Slap them together.
Yeah.
Get it over with.
Yeah.
I've been liking watching these.
Yeah.
They've been entertaining, but we have the next block that we have, the next month's worth of content that we want to do. We're going to tell you about at the end of this episode. We've been talking about it for a while, and there's a couple movies in there that I've really been wanting to talk about. So we decided, okay, let's just.
We just had to get through this little thing that we set for ourselves.
May I have your attention, please?
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
I don't know what to feel anymore.
Horror. Something even more terrible than you.
Yeah, so we didn't want to go this far to not finish the series.
Yeah.
So if watching Wrong Turn the Wrong Way,
Yes.
we are now at Wrong Turn 2.
Dead End. And
then the last but not least, the 2003 movie that started it all,
the OG,
Wrong Turn. So having watched the last two, I think we're going to talk about Wrong Turn 2 first and Wrong Turn. But just before we hop into that, now that it's like finished, like we made some pizza. It was a it was a production. It was a production movie. We did it, and it came out 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think 7 out of 10. We could do better, but we made a wrong turn and didn't just order Pizza Hut.
When it goes that way, that as I call it, it goes rustic.
Yes.
Like if you make a pizza and it's kind of like not quite, it's rustic.
You're like, the dough's not cooked all the way. Yeah,
it's rustic.
It's rustic.
Yeah,
like,
good.
Your mother.
Yeah.
So we crossed the finish line just a few hours ago. How does it feel knowing that we've now watched all of the Wrong Turn movies?
I think my life is complete now.
I feel a little bit of that.
Yeah, I feel a little bit.
We
did it. It always feels good to finish something.
Yeah. Like if we had just bailed at the end of this, I would always be wondering, like, wonder what Wrong Turn 2's like. You know what I mean? Yes. Like I'd seen the first one. Like I really just had to fill the gap with 2, but we had to really do it some justice by watching the original again.
Yeah, because there's a couple in the middle that we were like, yeah, they're okay, but like also we're just like, wow, I mean, they were pretty rough as well. So like halfway through, you're just like, I don't know, man. Like the middle. Once you get over the hump, you gotta go. Yeah.
There is a big slump in the franchise.
Yeah.
When we started this, the idea was, usually franchises start strong and then start to fade away and they get terrible. So the whole time we've been doing this series, we were talking like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like we're just working our way towards the first Wrong Turn. Did it feel like that to you when we watched the first Wrong? Were we like, oh, thank God?
Yeah.
Like things were done right. The score is great.
Yeah.
You felt that?
Yeah, definitely. Because like. It's like the look of it as well, because the second one we'll get into. The second one's like straight up DV,
right?
Like, and it's like kind of like almost like infancy, almost like it's like because it has like it doesn't look like film like any of the other ones. Like they all look like digital, but they all look like filmy digital,
right?
And Wrong Turn 2 is just like straight up digital, and then like the OG is film and looks like it's made by like filmmakers and like Stan Winston's behind it, and like and like. There's some crafts. It looks like that they thought about things.
So
there's tension in scenes, and
yes,
and it felt very quaint. It was very quaint because like little things were the biggest tension grabbers. Like the whole thing with them trying to sneak out of the cat. I'm getting ahead of ourselves with OG, but like
doesn't matter.
It's like
but that's a good sign though, because before when we had to talk about these other movies, we were sort of scratching our heads like, the effects were pretty decent, blah blah blah. But see, even just in light ramblings about the OG, there's so much to talk about that was at least done right.
Yeah.
So I think our theory of moonwalking backwards, it did. Do you think that enhanced the rewatch of the first one? Having watched all the, I hate to call them terrible, but they're certainly not great.
No.
Do you think that enhanced the OG? Was that a little bit? Did we had some seasoning?
I think so, because when you watch them, you're just like, I bet you the thought process behind doing Wrong Turn 2, 3, 4, or whatever was just like, well, it's a wrong turn. It's like Wrong Turn is like, it's a whatever movie.
Right.
We can make a bunch of them. It's fine. They don't have to be good, or they have to be like whatever. And it's kind of not the case. Like, you still need to know your shit, even though if you're doing Wrong Turn 3, 4, 5, 6.
There's still some foundation.
Not to pee on that guy's grave, but like,
or the cats after him,
or the guy who's still trying to the writer who's like basically rebooting it.
Which that was, if you haven't listened to the series, we started with the remake, the 2021, 22
I think,
version of Wrong Turn, which should, in my opinion, shouldn't be called Wrong Turn.
No.
They didn't really make a wrong turn, and it doesn't have any of the old staples of inbred mutants. In
No, it's like
in the hills.
Nordic people in West Virginia.
Yeah, it's
That's the weirdest.
yeah, but by itself wasn't a bad movie.
No.
It just, when you think of Wrong Turn, you usually think of the three mutant hillbillies, going to town on some lost, people.
I feel like for the first half of that movie, it's basically that type of movie, but then the big reveal is there's a village, a town, people, civilization in the middle of these West Virginian woods, who seem to become from
Like, there was pre-Civil War, like
they
they
were
had
like,
choose a side or something.
instead they buried themselves in the ground or something. It was
That was a weird one. That was a weird one.
Yeah.
But a lot better than half of the other Wrong Turns. So let's jump into Wrong Turn 2. Dead End. So the first film came out in 2003. This was made in 2007. So there's a little bit of a gap here. Same. I mean, I'll give you. I love my little Google premise. So I'll rip this one for you. You're gonna be real floored when you find out what the plot is. Hoping to win a cash prize, a group of strangers head out into the West Virginia woods for a survival-themed reality show program. Ex-military tough guy Dale, Henry Rollins, who is the saving grace,
kills it,
of Wrong Turn 2. He is hilarious. He's great. His screen presence is really not bad.
No, he's great
in this movie. I really liked it.
He seemed to got what they were going for.
Yes. So ex-military tough guy Dale, and his fellow adventurers, which is the whole cast here, are set for a week in which they will forage for food, battle Mother Nature, but when they find they're being hunted by a homegrown band of cannibals, the competitors are forced to fight their way out or be eaten in the process. That's a great synopsis.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
That's basically what happened. So we went from Wrong Turn 3 to Wrong Turn 2. Remember, we're moonwalking our way backwards. Now that we're complete, I could say do not look for any through line. There is the smallest through line from 2 to 1 with the old guy.
Yeah.
But other than that, there is dilly squat.
The only through line is the giggling guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, he technically died in this first one, but then he pops up in the end somehow. So they're immortal.
Yeah, well, we need to talk about that too, because I was like, are they just inbred, or are they they got a little something?
Yeah, is that the key to living forever? Is
just
inbreeding?
I hope not.
I don't like that message.
That stinks.
I don't like that theme at all.
Wrong Turn 2.
Yes.
The
dead end.
Wrong Turn 2. Dead End. Better, equal, or worse than Wrong Turn 3?
I think it's better.
I think it's better too.
I think it's better.
I think it
moves. It has a nice
was
pace, which is they didn't stay in one place for too long.
Yeah,
they just kind of kept things moving, which is good.
So there's a stretch in Wrong Turn where they're filming in, where are they filming, Lithuania, or they're filming somewhere, I forget where it is, some European country, and it just feels very European.
Yes.
This one actually felt like it was in some sort of woods that you would find in America. I don't know where they filmed it exactly.
I don't know either.
We found out that the first one was in Canada,
which is shocking. Yeah,
and they did a bang up job making it feel like West Virginia.
Yes.
But I thought the setting in Wrong Turn 2 felt more like what I wanted going into this. Deep in the woods. Bear traps and a bunch of weird, gross, cannibal stuff all over the place. And I actually I have a real soft spot for the which Halloween is it with the webcam and they're like filming.
7.
So I remember watching Resurrections. Yeah, I remember watching that homesick from school, and I really liked it. And then you go to like any like forum or Facebook page or TikTok. Yeah, that one's the worst. And I was like, man, I kind of like it. I got a little bit of that from this one.
Yeah.
And I honestly I dug that idea of them doing a reality show. Then all of a sudden, oopsie daisies, the inbred mutant cannibals are out there to get you. I think it's a pretty cool setup.
Yeah, taking it in different directions would be like nice. And like the 3, 4, 5 kind of didn't. They kind of like really tried to do some sort of mythology, which I don't think is needed with these guys. It should just be like Michael Myers style. It's like they're just pure evil, like they used to say with Michael Myers. They're just there.
Yeah. What did you think of the inbred mutant freaks in Wrong Turn 2? So in the original they had the 3, and then in this one they had like a little family,
like 20.
Yeah, there was very much a father figure, a mother figure, and like two siblings.
Siblings who kept having sex.
Yeah, just all over the place.
That felt like Dead Alive. Have you seen Dead Alive?
Yeah.
I felt like that type of like with I don't know. It just felt like that type of humor and like kind of like with the two inbreds. Or at least what he was going for. It wasn't quite as funny, but yeah, it's like I think there was like, because the one family blew up, but then there was another family. I think there was like 2 families, wasn't
there? Was quite a bit.
There was a lot of them. You couldn't quite understand where they were, because there was like a cabin, and then there was like another cabin, right?
Yeah,
there was like 2 of them, because the one blew up, but then they still had like.
There's a couple more popping up.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of mutants throughout this whole frame.
There's a lot. Yeah, they didn't really try to.
No.
Put it together very well.
I will say with Wrong Turn 2, though, I felt like I could see where a lot of Joe Lynch is. I could see where he loves horror movies. There was a lot of Texas Chainsaw vibes in this one, which was pretty nice. I thought that was a nice thing, because if you're going to add any kind of inspiration from any other movie for Wrong Turn, Texas Chainsaw is kind of a no-brainer. You got the the cannibals and all that jazz. Yeah,
he kind of wears his influences on his sleeve, which is, it's kind of cool to see, because like all the other ones don't really have anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just always kind of like disappointing. Kind of like somebody just made some movies and was like, this is how you make a movie, but like didn't seem to be having any fun at it. It looked like this one looked like it was fun.
This one felt a lot funner than 3. Actually, more than most of them. More than most of them. Over there. What did you think of that? Like, I don't know if they shot DV, but it definitely had that digitally kind of feel to it. What did you think of that?
It was fine because of like the subject matter. Like they were doing the reality show, so I guess they kind of like embraced that. I didn't mind it because it looked. The way it was used was fine. Like it looked fine. Like I didn't mind it because like. Again, not to show the other ones, but like they were like DV as well, but like they looked kind of more filmy, but like they weren't as good.
Right.
So it's kind of like, and even filmy is that's a technical term, guys.
Yeah.
But like, I tried to make it look more professional, and it doesn't. It's just like it doesn't matter what you shoot on, and I think that's where like the Wrong Turn 2 is good, because it's like they just shot what they had. Looks like.
And Wrong Turn 2 had a pretty decent opening, I thought, with the lady in the Corvette or the convertible going out to the shoot and then getting split in half. I thought that split in half was pretty damn good.
Because he drags off the 2 pieces of her, and it's like slides away.
Yeah, and. When you said like you could tell they had fun, like you could imagine them trying to get that shot on set and like pulling it off and being like, "Oh fuck yeah!" Like that looks.
That's probably just like the 2. I mean, you can just kind of see how they were doing it.
Yeah,
which is always cool to watch like older movies like that too, because like it's one of those things where it's like Like people like when they watch something like that, they'll be, oh, you can tell they didn't have any money for that shot, so they did it this way. I was like, well, yeah, that's how it's made.
Yeah,
That's how-
you have to cheese it as much as
Yeah, I always
much
like
as
that type of.
possible.
I always like that type of stuff more than like, just seeing the whole effect and being crappy about it.
Yeah.
Like with like the Wrong Turn 3, which one? There's somebody who gets cut in half in one of those too, and it looks like shit.
Yeah, that's where you can start to feel a lot of like the digital blood kind of.
It's like just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, and this one like, it felt like people who like horror movies making
Yeah.
a horror movie. And during that scene before she gets split in half, she's on the phone with Patton Oswalt, and it's one of those things where like the voice and it takes you a second. I'm looking at the credits, and Jon Stewart's credited in this one too, but I don't know what he's been.
What he
was credited for.
That's weird.
It's very weird.
I think Patton Oswalt was like uncredited, wasn't it too? I saw.
I think so because we had to like Google it and see what was what the deal was with that one. So the other thing with like the Wrong Turn franchise is every movie is like the setting changes completely. It's kind of like Gotham in the Nolan trilogy. Like it's like clearly Chicago.
Sometimes it's Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's New York.
In New York, yeah. Wrong Turn does the same thing where each time it changes, but because like randomly there's supposed to be like an insane asylum there, and there's also supposed to be this like big huge resort there, and none of it really adds up. It's kind of weird. But Wrong Turn 2 gives us enough set pieces like with like the the cars piled up. Where they killed all the other people. I thought it did a pretty good job at setting up some cool looking like towards the end they're in this. It's like I don't know. Are they treating wood or is it a meat factory? It looks like a lumber thing.
I don't know.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of heavy could kill you and rip you apart machinery.
they keep throwing the meat through the grinder, but I don't know what else you would use it for unless it's like I don't know. Unless it's like a car crusher or something. But even that it wasn't big enough for a car crusher.
Right.
So I don't know what kind of. I don't know. What
But
that
it looked good, and then there's a couple cabins where you got to fill it up full of trash and make it real dusty and dirty. And I thought all of those looked great, especially the there was a couple Texas Chainsaw shots. There was one of someone running, but then the one that definitely feels like it's an homage to Chainsaw was when she's in their house breaking. I was gonna say breaking bread, but it's more like breaking fingers, or whatever you would call for the cannibals. And her hands are strapped. She's strapped onto the chair with the barbed wire.
Yeah, it's a straight up. Yeah.
Yeah, but then those look good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought the whole cabins like they looked pretty decent. They didn't look bad. Like the one we were really ripping on because it was like these beige walls with a random American flag in the background to be like, remember we're in America. We're in America.
And it was in like a big castle, which should look cool.
Yeah.
But like it just didn't.
Yeah. So
Which is why the first one does right as well, which is the lighting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And this is gonna sound bad, but like I don't really have a lot to say about Wrong Turn 2. It really is. I don't know why, but that movie, the whole franchise, feels like a flash in the pan.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it was, and it's weird because like it was better than like. I feel like one's probably the best. One's definitely the best, and then 2, and then I would probably go with 5 because we have I think
For some reason, 5 we like 5.
5 is a pretty stellar one.
Every time I look it up on Letterboxd, it's like the one that everybody hates the most. I was like, I kind of like it because it is just a set.
Right.
Like it's just like they just keep running around the same block.
Like, let me ask you this: what was the most memorable part of Wrong Turn 2?
Wrong Turn 2. I mean, the kills. I mean, there's a
Kills
lot
were
of
good.
there's a lot of like disemboweling, and I think they blew up some people too, didn't they? Didn't they have some exploding people?
I think there was a couple explosions.
I mean, Henry Rollins. I think he was the best part.
He was great.
He was great as like the militant,
In your face
yeah,
kind of person.
but also like kind of like a nice guy.
Right. No, yeah, I'll be honest.
That's about it.
I know. I that's the whole thing, and like I'm not trying to cut it short or or snip it, but it really just felt like hey, this is Wrong Turn 2, and it's gone from memory.
Yeah, because it didn't connect. It doesn't really connect to 1 or 3. It doesn't really connect to the first one or the third one, honestly.
None of them really connect at all, and I think that's why I'm having a hard time with the franchise. Like, I'm glad we did. I'm glad we're able to say this, but like, if you had asked me, like, do you think these all connect? I'd be like, well, they'd have to. There's several of them. You know, they do their best to connect. You know, every other franchise.
Yeah.
You know, there's some kind of similarities, but this one is really, I mean, it's just a re-roll of the dice practically every time.
I would have liked it if it was more intentional that way too.
Yes.
Like what they were trying to do with Halloween 3, like everybody always says. But more just like Wrong Turn, just be like, it's like, no, it's just fucking just like 3 hillbillies. And like even like you can just like play it back, honestly, every time and just be like, you know, just
right.
how different people have dealt with these guys or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then it gets really weird the further you got into that franchise. It was like, well, this is a prequel to the prequel, and this is a sequel to the prequel, but then this is the regular. You're like, huh?
Because 1, 2, 3. Because 3 has nothing to do with 2 at all.
You see what we're saying, listeners? Yeah. Okay.
But 4 and 5, 4 and 5 lead up to. Is it 4, 5, 6? No, 4, 5 leads up to 1 and 2, and then.
Oh my god!
And I think 6.
I'm already confused.
6 is another reboot.
Oh my god!
But then the last one's a reboot as well. So the last 2 have been like reboots, almost. I think.
See, the fact that we're not even certain,
it's just...
and we've been watching, and I know, I get it. You know, I thought the title "Wrong Turn the Wrong Way" was cute, and I legitimately wanted to watch them backwards just as an experiment. Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
If you had told me going into it, like, no, you could watch it forwards, and it will still make no sense.
No,
I wouldn't have believed you.
No.
I would have thought there was some kind of, you know, similarities between each film, but they're really just a re-roll every single time.
You should probably just watch them, randomly and see what you get.
That's what
it makes just as much sense.
Guess what, Leprechaun? We're coming.
Yeah,
we're coming for you. They are rebooting Leprechaun, so
I got them all on Vudu, guys. I just got them for $10.
All right, so let's talk about the big Kahuna.
OG.
The OG 2003 Wrong Turn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if memory serves correct, I think we did this for our other series, How Low Can We Go? I'm almost certain of it. We did it on the first round because this movie's rated 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is it really? Damn.
Yeah, true story. And I think the pickings, once you get to like 40, it starts to like thin out a little bit. And so you kind of go for what's best. It's a Wrong Turn, I think, was that best. For those of you who haven't,
that's shocking.
For those of you who haven't seen it, let me give you my Google review. And again, hold on to your hats. You're never gonna guess what all these wrong turns are about. Friends Jesse and Carly are traveling with pals Scott, Evan, and Francine when they have car troubles in West Virginia. Moments later, motorist Chris, Desmond Harrington, that guy's great. I loved him in Dexter. He just never looked. Oh, I have a story for you too. Just a little side quest. We just got our shower regrouted, and it was 2 guys. One guy who was going to do all the work, and the one guy who kind of like went in there and was like, "Okay, get this, that." You know, dude looked, sounded, and acted like Dexter Morgan.
Oof.
It weirded me out. He was super nice, but like,
so is Dexter.
There was yeah.
That's just nice too.
And the way he was just like talking, and he even kind of had like the short brown hair, kind of like Dexter. The way he was talking and looking at it, I was like, showers are his murder rooms. The way he was just like ready to put down tarps and go to work, and it just weirded me out.
Have you seen Based on a True Story yet?
No.
It's similar to that too.
Is it really?
Yeah. There's a plumber. I'm not gonna spoil it for everybody, but the plumber has a similar vibe too.
Does he really?
So it's kind of like, that's funny that you said that, because I'm like, yeah, it's, you have to watch it and see. I don't want to spoil it for people.
Don't spoil it.
I don't want to spoil it based on a true story.
So they get to a car crash. Both vehicles are disabled. Stranded, the friends discover that they're being stalked by a horde of backwoods cannibal. Is 3 people considered a horde?
I don't think so.
I think a horde's got to be like at least a couple dozen.
I think Wrong Turn 2 had a horde.
Wrong Turn 2 had a horde. This was just a trio.
Let me Google horde.
The woodsmen are hungry and fierce, and they'll be eating well unless Jesse and pals can outsmart them. That's a good little synopsis here. equal to, better than, or worse than Wrong Turn 2. To round it all out,
It's better.
it's bad. This is.
Better.
Can we say this is the best?
Yeah.
Pretty easily, right?
This says derogatory term. Horde's a derogatory term for a large group of people.
Wait, the horde?
Yeah,
is a derogatory
it's
term.
derogatory. It says.
For I didn't know.
He was surrounded by a horde of tormenting relatives.
Hey, watch your mouth. You can't.
Sorry.
You can't be saying that one.
Don't cancel me. I just said the horde.
The one thing in the Wrong Turn franchise that bugged us moving backwards was the lack of wrong turns made by our characters.
Yes.
You know, and some of them tried to make the wrong turn, I'm guessing, a more philosophical idea.
Yes.
You know, like they're choosing
Sure.
their family or something like that.
Sure.
I think that was their stabs, which doesn't work at all.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta you gotta keep it simple. If it's a called wrong turn, make a wrong turn.
Because Wrong Turn 2 didn't make any wrong turns.
Nope, they had basically
Even on the reality show when they were filming it or whatever, they didn't make any wrong
yeah.
turns.
I mean, they had their base camp.
They had
set up-
cameras everywhere.
Yeah, where they needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong Turn 1 though gave us multiple wrong turns.
The first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was like, hey, listen, you just paid us. You know how much was a movie ticket in 2003? It had to be like $6,
$7.
$7. So like, listen, you gave us
The golden age.
$7 to see a movie called Wrong Turn. We are going to give you not one, but five wrong turns in the first 10 minutes.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing. Let me get the. Let's see here. Rob Schmidt directed this one. It had a budget of $12.6 million in U.S. dineros. It felt like it.
Do you know how much Wrong Turn 2 had?
Oh, let's see here. Wrong Turn 2 budget.
Dead end.
Guess. They went from 12 million
To like 5.
4.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It felt like a 4 million.
I mean, it felt like less,
Yeah.
but
The opening scene. Let's start there because every Wrong Turn has this, you know, typical slasher opening scene. Some better than others.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, a couple of them involve some kind of sport, like rock climbing, jogging. 2 was just the lady driving and she hit ran over the barbed wire or whatever.
Yeah. I think 4 or 5 were just sex.
Usually, yeah, it was
Yeah, it
usually
was.
nudity and then death.
Stabbing the boob usually.
Yeah, the arrow through the boobie in one of them. The other one took place in the snow. That was Declan O'Brien's Empire, as we were calling it.
Oh yeah.
And then Wrong Turn 1 opens up with the rock climbing scene.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that? Did it still hold up for you in terms of suspense?
Nah, not really. It didn't really do much for me.
Right.
It was kind of a weird sequence.
It just gets you there.
Yeah.
It's 2 people are dead. Roll the cool early 2000s.
It feels like the beginning and the post-credit scene that we get, or like mid-credit scene, were like made by 2 other people.
Right.
Like from the credits, like bell to bell, like credit to credits, that seemed like a solid movie. But the first half seemed weird, and like the last little bit seemed like kind of not quite. I feel like they were trying to do like a typical opening for a horror movie.
Right.
I didn't feel like it felt like with the rest of the movie.
Yeah. I am looking at my notes here. There were some pretty cool stunts in here, like the first car crash.
Mm-hmm. That was good.
Like that looked pretty.
That was crazy.
Like it still got me. Like
It came out of nowhere.
He's fucking with the radio and he looks up and all of a sudden the car is there. Hey, and like that kind of,
Yeah.
like I know it's coming from a mile away, but part of me still went, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
It was like a physical stunt. It was like a nice stunt.
Yeah, like you could feel,
Yeah.
you could feel the crash.
Yeah. They did that for real.
They did that. They did that for real. So aside from the 2 rock climbers getting killed, the first main cast, our Scooby Doo, we were comparing.
We haven't said it.
Yeah, we were comparing who was who in the mystery gang because this one, the core, aside from the first 2 people that die, one of them's off screen, and then the other one gets the barbed wire on the mouth.
Yes.
I thought that looked great.
Yeah.
And it made the mutant hillbillies feel like strong and fierce. Because then the other ones, it feels sort of, I don't say heartless, but like it feels lightweight. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like that first, I'll call that the first official kill, even though there's 3 before that. That's like the first one we see the the hillbillies and stuff. I thought it really added like some sense of danger of like how strong these guys are and how you probably don't want to fuck with them.
Yeah, they took it seriously. It's like they really took it serious and the situation.
Yeah,
which I didn't think you could tell as well. And you had Stan Winston doing the effects, like we keep saying, for that first one, and like you couldn't see any of the hillbillies' faces until like the very end either.
Yeah,
which was nice too, because like you just see pieces of them in like this dark cabin. So it's like,
yeah. Let's talk about the hillbillies in this one, because this is they do get worse. They obviously look like they're putting on just molds of some kind of masks from the last one towards the end, and they're almost comical in the later ones. But in this one, like they feel like the people who worked on it looked up like what some what people would look like if they were a product of inbreeding.
Yes, they did their homework. Yeah, and and they were strong. Like the one giggly guy who like shows up in all of them. Like towards like most of the movies, he's just like in baggy clothes, giggling and shooting arrows. Yeah, but this one he's like climbing trees and he's like built, and he's a strong dude. Yeah,
and what I liked about him is I like this one the most because we have the 3. It's almost kind of like the 3 little bear, or the Goldilocks and the
3 bears.
The 3 bears. Like you have the small one, the medium-sized one, and then the tank.
Yes,
like the big guy who's gonna rip you apart. The 3, I think 3 Fingers, isn't that his name? The
3 Fingers. Yeah.
The long blonde hair from the other ones.
The giggly
guy. That's better. Yeah.
That guy.
In this one, they all had such distinctive personalities, and I loved him in this one because he wasn't just like this dumb idiot. Like he was taunting them. Like there's this part where they're fighting and he has 2 knives and he makes this noise and kind of like goofs at them for a second. Like he's not terrified of them. Like he's playing with his food, and I think that happens twice, and it's very little, but it's so memorable. Like that little scene there of him fucking with them with the knives in his hand, making the noise, giggling a little bit, is so much more character than all the other ones combined.
Yeah, because like for some reason he starts picking up the bow and arrow, and like that's a different person's thing,
right?
Like, and he should still be using like the knives and taunting and stuff like that, but he just runs around shooting bows and arrows at people in the other one.
Yeah, because the way it shakes out in this one is 3 Fingers has the knives, and he's always taunting, making these little clicky noises.
They kind of like send him out, like he's like the one to like gather.
Yeah,
he's almost like the hound.
Yes,
kind of thing.
Yes, and then you have the big brute guy with the bow and arrow, and then the medium guy. He's just kind of there. Like he's just filling in the
I think
gaps.
He's the driver, isn't he?
I think
he's driving the truck most of the time. So I think he's like just like.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of. He doesn't have something very memorable about his face. Like the tall guy has like the split in the middle of his lip. The other guy is the other guy throughout the whole fucking franchise. You know who he is. But he's just kind of like.
I think he had like some really weird eyes. Didn't he have some bulging eyes?
I think so. It was
because you could kind of see him when he was taunting Alicia Dushku on the bed.
Oh, that's right.
He was kind of like, you kind of see.
That's right. It kind of reminded me of Palpatine before they redid him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about with the weird eyes?
Yeah, his eyes were like that.
It kind of reminded me of that. But to talk about the villains, what I really, really, really liked about this one is you don't get a close up of them until they go into the cabin, and even then, I don't even remember when you get the first like actual good look at them. The movie takes its time because all the other times you see them, they are out in the distance. Like the first time you see them, they're far out. They're far out. Like you could pause on it, you're not gonna be able to make out any detail.
Yeah.
But you know something's not right.
Yes.
Then when they go into the cabin, it's a lot. Like this movie shoots a lot of the mutants from the back of the head. There's a lot of shots from them in the back of the head or of their feet, shambling across the ground. It's that Jaws thing where less is more.
It's more of the POV of the main characters, and the other ones, they become the main characters basically.
Yes,
the hillbillies kind of like become the main characters when they want to be, instead of like they shift the POV, which in this one we kind of stick with the kids the entire time.
Yeah.
And which is a smart thing to do, and
that's why this one.
that's what filmmakers do.
That's why this one's the best one. The other thing is just to talk a little bit about the actual design of the mutants in this one. Like we said earlier, this feels like they actually did their research of what a product of inbreeding would look like.
Yeah.
Like Three Fingers in this one, I think is the best looking one. Because it's so comical by then. He's got this giant football-sized forehead.
The hair is somehow getting longer and whiter.
Yeah,
but in this is all stringy and
it's not as like he's definitely deformed. He's got the big mouth, the big eyes. The other one, he almost looks alien, B movie style. This one they actually tried to put a human face with all the deformities that it would have, to make it look like the fifth generation of brothers and mothers. I
think we keep saying I think it might be the same actor, but I think it's just maybe, I don't know, because in this one he's scary. He's built, he's tall, he can climb a tree,
very agile,
like a crazy person.
He does,
but it's in the other ones you can't see him doing that at all.
No, he's got those big baggy overalls on.
Yeah, he's always just kind of
adjusting a strap,
and somehow he's just able to kind of kill all these people.
Yeah,
which is shocking.
Kind of shocking. But I will say, having worked our way backwards to end it on that one was a real visual treat. It was really nice to have something that looked scary and intimidating, because that's the way I remember it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's better if you go the other way, you might remember it as a bad series.
Yeah.
But if you think of it this way, you end on the good one. You're like, okay, cool. It's wrong turn.
So we did it. Our theory.
I think we worked.
I think we did it right. I think we did it right. Going through my notes here, there's I like that barbed wire kill. I thought it gave us a lot of power. My next note on that was this was the best shot one, which we did talk about a little bit, but just to hit back on that,
it's on film, and it's done with some craft to it, it's maybe all the other ones did some sort of craft, but this one you could tell that they kind of took it seriously.
Yeah,
the other ones they don't feel took it too seriously.
This one is lit beautifully.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah,
soundtrack is
the
score is great. Yeah,
the score. There was a part in the score. Usually, if the score is bad, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yes.
If the score is good, there's parts where you listen to it and you're like, I feel more immersed into the movie. And the one with that took place in the European hotel, because it was definitely not West Virginia with the American flags everywhere.
Yes.
They really hammered on this fiddle, violin,
yes,
kind of Appalachian kind of sound, almost to the point where it was a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
This score kept it very minimum with that. There was one part where you heard a little bit of that violin, fiddle type thing, and it was so small where it kind of made my brain go, oh, I know where we're at again.
Yeah.
And it worked in its favor, and I was like, God damn, because I'm walking backwards. Everything just feels like it's done because it needs to be done for a movie. Where this one, it was let's think about it for a second. What do we need? What enhances the story?
Yeah, not just put a filler every time you see one of those guys.
Yes, there was. There was, because this came out in 2003, the same year as my favorite Texas Chainsaw movie, which I actually should rewatch, because I just rewatched the original on the last drive-in, and it made me, the first time I saw Texas Chainsaw, I saw it after I saw the remake. And so as a young kid, you're like, well, this one's gorier, so I like this one better.
Yeah.
Now I really have a big appreciation for the Texas Chainsaw, the original, so I need to go back and watch the 03 just to make sure that's where it still stands. The reason I bring that up is when I did rewatch Texas Chainsaw 03, which was a long time ago, I remember it had some of those scenes where cheesy music was playing, kind of just during a random scene of dialogue. This movie had a little bit of that, so I think that's just a byproduct of '03.
I mean, yeah, 2000. When I was looking it up, I was like, I thought this. I lumped it in with a bunch of other movies that were like in 2005. Because 2003 had this movie and like High Tension, and House of a Thousand Corpses, but it wasn't quite like the whole like splatter. Was it the Splatter Bros or whatever it was? The Splat Pack.
Oh yeah,
Because 2005 was that like Eli Roth, but this is kind of lumped in with all that stuff too.
I've never heard the phrase the Splat Pack.
Really.
That is so cool.
Yeah. I didn't make it up.
That is cool as hell.
But it was like the guy who does like, I think it was like James Wan, Eli Roth.
Oh, okay.
Those guys.
Like the Hostel, Saws.
The Alexander, Aja, whatever you call it.
Okay.
Because High Tension's him. And like that's like the beginning of like that type of, almost like the torture porn stuff.
Right.
Before it's torture porn.
Okay.
But like this was almost the beginning of that. It's like at the beginning of that whole wave.
Right.
That's why Rob Schmidt was in, like, he did a bunch of like the TV shows. I think he did the Masters of Horror, and there was one on NBC for like a season called Fear Itself, and I think he did one for that as well.
Oh, that's cool.
And then he did another movie, another horror movie. Then I think he just kind of, I'm not sure what happened to him. I think he teaches. I think he's like a college professor.
Oh, that's cool.
I think.
Imagine that guy's doing. You go to class. You're like, what movie did you do? Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn.
Fuck yeah! We watched it backwards, and it's really great. So we talked about the cinematography. We think this one's the best shot. I don't want to say this one's the smartest one, because saying a movie's smarter than the others, like, super jack-offy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But there was one thing. This had two of my favorite moments. One is suspense, which I want to talk to you about, because the suspense in this one I thought was done very, very, very well.
Yes.
Like I think they did a 10 out of 10 job with some of the suspense and a handful of scenes I want to ask you about. But it had my favorite thing that I've never noticed or seen anyone else talk about, but the fact that when they arrive to the cabin, she rings the dinner bell. Yeah. Never in a million years. Like, I didn't think about that before. I didn't think about it on the rewatch. The fact that dinner is here. We are at your doorstep. Come chop us up and throw us into a stew. I don't know. I think that's my favorite part. Probably, if it's not my favorite, second favorite part of the whole Wrong Turn franchise. I just the irony that she has no idea that she's just ringing the bell on herself.
Yeah.
To become stew is hilarious. My favorite scene. I want to ask you about this. When they go to the cabin, they're looking around for things, trying to find a phone or a radio or something like that to call someone to get some help. The mutants come up to the driveway, and then they go underneath the bed, and that's like the big suspense moment. They're hiding under the bed. The mutants come in. They drop their friend right there in front of them. They see their dead corpse, and the blood starts to pool up, and then the blood's starting to drip towards the people under the bed. And they don't want to make a sound. What did you think of that? How they executed that scene?
I think it was great. And that's like what you want in a horror movie, a suspense movie, like those types of moments. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what I was talking about before, about like the little moments. That's not really that big of a moment. It's just like some blood that might like trickle on like over onto them and like be found out, but like it's still like tense. And same with like when he drops like a shotgun
shot, yeah,
like in the same area, and you're like, oh fuck, and like he just like searches for it, but that's more tense than most of the other movies with their big quote unquote set pieces or whatever they try to do with shit.
Right.
And then them sneaking out of the building as well was like great.
Oh yes, the blood to the shotgun shell under the bed frame where two of our characters are hiding. I mean, that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's like a Hitchcock like level execution,
because it stays on them. It doesn't like jump around to show what the mutants are doing.
Yeah, you still have no in your brain's firing up. Like, what do these cats look like?
Yeah. You have no idea what's going on. You see like bits and pieces, but
your brain's still kind of, it's sort of like an old like cat people,
like exactly.
Going way back. But like the fact that we're watching this Wrong Turn, which for some reason I don't agree with the 40% Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't either. That's shocking.
I mean, to me, like, I think it's like, I want to say 75. Like, I want to if I could wave a magic wand so when people look it up, that's what they see. I would place at around 75.
It was like solid B minus or B
Yeah.
even. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, and I would base that scene would hold a lot of that weight to it. You know, where the audience knows like they're about to get caught, and when he's moving his hand on there looking for it, you know, I held my breath again.
That's an audience moment for sure. Yeah, see it in the theater with an audience, and that's. I mean,
I would love to see it again with an audience.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then not to skip over the exit of the cabin. The hillbilly mutants fall asleep.
Oh yeah.
And then I think it's the 4 remaining people go to sneak out.
Yeah.
And they're like bumping everything on the way out.
Yes.
Like if
it's like a Naked Gun like scene.
Yeah. Like if it can make noise, they're gonna run into it.
Yes.
And our main guy as they're leaving, the door cracks open.
It's like
the spring.
It's a screen door.
The spring starts to go, and he grabs it, and as they're opening it up, you just see the blood coming out of his hands. There's those moments. They're like the real butt clenchers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you know that guy's going through some pain.
Yeah, I mean they just chopped somebody's head off, and it was like, yeah, cool. But like this is like, ow, I get that because I've gotten my hand caught in those things. Yeah, it's like as a kid, you always grab that thing and get pinched.
Yeah, like you're leaving out this. Yeah, you grab the spring door or the screen door on the way out, and it pinches the shit out of you.
But then she opened it all the way on.
Yeah,
he's holding it as they leave, and like Alicia Dushku just keeps opening it up
like
more
all
and more.
the way.
Like you could squeeze out, buddy.
Yeah, you could have done a quarter of that.
You guys are tiny. You could get through that.
Yeah, you could have made it out. But that scene in the cabin is just such a strong scene that when you watch Wrong Turn the correct way, or I should say the chronological way, you don't get that.
No.
You're not getting that in the other movies. That's a real rare gem.
Yes.
That's missed everything else.
Yeah.
Let's see here. There was a lot of funny lines. The core group actually felt like a group of friends that knew each other.
Yeah. Because then there was the one guy who ran into them who kind of joined with them, but like, yeah.
They worked together.
They worked together really well.
And I thought the chemistry between all of them was great. And all the other ones, it really just feels like a ragtag bunch of actors making a horror movie.
Well, that's why I think that the smart move was to have like the one guy not really part of the group, but so he could be different.
Yes.
And yet not have to be like explain why this guy is hanging out with all these like fucking stoners and shit.
Yes.
This guy who's like, I think a medical student or lawyer or something. He was going to do something.
Yeah.
To explain him hanging out with these guys would just have taken.
Would have been
a leap of
right. So after they escape the cabin, they're off into the deep into the woods, with the mutants on their trail, and we are treated to. Would you call this? Because we've seen quite a bit of kills throughout this franchise. Would you say that the kill in the tree with the axe is the best kill of the franchise?
I think so. Yeah.
I would agree with that too.
Yeah, I think it's very memorable. The rest of them, you can't really think about any of them, really. I can't really think of any of them.
Yeah, the woman getting split was one of them.
Right turn 2, the beginning was great, but then the rest of them were kind of all blend together because it's all kind of like splattery type stuff.
Yeah.
They couldn't pick one out.
There's some arrows involved. So for the people watching, if you haven't seen Wrong Turn, the kill we're talking about is when our boy Three Fingers, who is at his prime in this one, prime Tree Fingers.
Yes.
Climbs a tree, comes up behind a girl, slaps her in the head with the axe. Her upper half is like plated,
still there
on the axe, and the rest of the body drops down.
Yeah.
And honestly, for being 2003, having the body fall down like that looked good.
Because it's dark.
Yes.
They kept everything dark. That's another thing. Yeah, but the lighting and stuff. This is a dark movie because they know how to shoot effects. They had Stan Winston there going, "Hey, you can't light the shit out of this because
it looks better in the
It
dark."
looked crazy, yeah. And all the other ones are just like shot in broad daylight, running through the woods of your local park.
Yeah, was
5 trees.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They keep recycling the same trees. You're like, those look familiar. Are those sycamores?
Yeah.
I think I've been here before.
There's like a jungle gym in the back and stuff. It's like, yeah.
It had another one of the parts that I really liked in this with with 3 fingers up high in the tree, they take a branch, bend it back, and they have that line where like we're gonna knock this fucker down.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. It's the first time. It's really one of the only times they actually fight back successfully.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of the times people they get a couple licks in, or you think they're gonna survive and they don't. Because if you've listened to the other episodes, you know we have a big problem with these immortal mutants, which is the name of a new punk band, the Immortal Mutants.
Because they're the only ones who survive from like 2 on.
Yeah.
From 2 on, everybody dies.
Yeah, everybody's a goner, but we get 2 survivors in this one.
Yeah, and they drive off in the truck, the tow truck.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm not sure how. In Wrong Turn 2, they get their tow truck back.
Oh,
You know
that's
what I mean?
yeah. Oh, damn. You're right. maybe they have a plethora of tow trucks in their
They could.
junkyard. You know, because they got a lot of cars. They got a lot of cars in there.
I guess.
Okay.
Mm.
I really don't know what else to say about.
I think we're good.
I think the experiment of if you watch it backwards, does it get better? Yes. I mean, obviously. Did it enhance the final film? I think we can conclusively say yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't enhance. Would I recommend it? Just watch Wrong Turn. Just
Watch the first one.
Just watch the first one. Just hop in. You know, it's better than you remember. The mutants look great. The blood looks good. The score looks great. Shot beautifully. The chemistry with the actors is there. Mutants is great.
It's short.
It's short. About like an hour 23 or hour 24. Doesn't yank your dick. Just right there.
Like at the beginning, there's the only thing of conversation, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that you have to get through, which is a little lacking. But like it's like they get to the good stuff. You care enough about them, and the actors are good, and like it looks good that you kind of.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we can finally say we've seen the entire Wrong Turn franchise.
Life is complete now.
That was kind of daunting. I'm not gonna lie to the audience. I'm not here to yank you around. That was. I don't know if I do that again.
Yeah, because once you get through a couple of those, you're like, I'm not doing this. These are dumb.
Yeah.
And it's like you kind of have to like get through them and see like, oh well, this one has some good stuff. This one has some good stuff.
This
one has some bad stuff. This one has some terrible stuff.
Yeah, they each have some really cool things. Nothing beats the original. That's a tale as old as time. Yeah, no. I think from now on, if there's a entry into a franchise I'm curious about, I'm just gonna ask the audience, hey, what's the roadmap?
Yeah.
What's the roadmap? We should tease what the next block of episodes is going to be. So we were talking back and forth, and the next episode or the next block is going to be the From Hell series. So we're going to do 4 films of the blank From Hell, and I think we're going to start with Single White Female because we went and saw that. I'm excited to talk about that. That viewing that was incredible.
Yeah.
So Single White Female would be like the roommate from hell.
Yes.
Pacific Heights is another one we want to do because I've seen it on the Bravo countdown all this time, and I just want some Michael Keaton fix.
Yeah.
And I if I remember correctly, he's the renter or the landlord.
He's like the tenant.
The tenant.
Yeah.
The tenant from hell.
Yeah.
We had another one on the list. What was it? I believe it was one that you had brought up.
Which one was it?
What I haven't seen.
I forget
too. We have it in a list somewhere. And then
The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And that's the babysitter from hell?
Yeah, it's babysitter.
The babysitter from hell. And we are going to kick it to the audience to do the 4th blank from hell. I want to get you all involved. So for the reviews for this episode, put in what your favorite from hell, blank from hell movie is, and we'll count that as a vote, and we'll just see what the last one is. Well, we don't have an official way of tallying things, but just shout it. We'll probably end up checking it out.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be fun. I'm curious to see what everybody else suggests.
Yes,
for sure.
And honestly, like we saw Single White Female, and it's no Wrong Turn. No, it's good. I actually loved the shit out of Single White Female. I still think about that.
Yeah.
And at the same theater we saw After Hours, and I'm still thinking about that.
After Hours, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
And Cyborg.
oh, it's oh my god, I forgot we saw Cyborg.
How could you forget about Cyborg?
That one was great. That was good. But I'm excited for this block of movies because I don't know. They're going to feel like a big departure from Wrong Turn. I'm ready for something. I'm ready for a fresh, new style of thriller,
Yeah.
scary horror type stuff. So let us know what your favorite From Hell movie is.
Yeah.
Unless you say From Hell, which we've already done an episode on that a while ago.
That's not really From Hell.
That's not really From Hell. That's the the serial killer from Hell. I don't know where that would line up. So yeah, I'm excited, and au revoir, auf Wiedersehen to Wrong Turn. We did it. What's funny is I actually think it was like last week they announced that they want to do a sequel to the one that just came out. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
We'll have to.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah,
but until next time,
stay
scary. Watch a bunch of horror movies. Let us know what the last From Hell movie should be in an iTunes review. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram. Start following us on TikTok. We're gonna start doing some TikToks. We have some ideas that I think are gonna be really fun that I've been sitting on, and I'm like real excited to pull the trigger and start they're gonna be kind of silly. Don't expect anything. It ain't a masterclass. We're just gonna go and have some fun with TikTok and some horror movies. So that's the idea. Till next time, stay scary. Watch a bunch of horror movies. See you guys next time.
May I have your attention, please?
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
I don't know what real anymore.
Horror. Something even more terrible than you.